Hey guys, welcome to the webinar. My name is Derek Berg and I'm going to be your host. I'm publisher of Music Coach Magazine. I'm also founder of Music Coaching Career Academy and totally humbled by the fact that you guys have given up an hour of your time. I hope it's going to be worth it. I think it will. Some of the insights that we're going to be sharing with you are really cool. You know, we were doing some research before we did this webinar and found some really cool things. One of the things that we found, and I guess they're not cool things, but they're definitely interesting. What's cool is the solutions that we have available to us as musicians and artists. So I guess some of the information might be devastating at first and just disheartening. Some of that information was, well, most teachers that are trying to find traditional jobs in the music teaching space or the music educational space are finding it extremely challenging to land those jobs. And simply due to lack of funding, those jobs are becoming just a rare thing. They're just not in abundance, and there's a lot of competition for those jobs for people who want to become music teachers, music choir directors, those types of things. The other side of things is less than 5% of musicians are making their full income, 100% of their income from music-related income streams. And that's definitely less cool. What's cool about it is what we're going to be sharing for the rest of today, because I truly believe that if you have a musical message to share, if you have a musical talent, if there's something that you totally worked hard on, either in formal education or independently, and you developed your talent and you did all this work to just go out in the workplace to have to get a non-musical related job, I think that's just not a cool thing at all. I think when it comes down to it, if you're a musician or you're a creator or you're an artist, you should be doing that all the time. And in fact, if you're not doing that, by nature, at least most of us, we're going to end up being fairly miserable. So one of the things that I had to do early on in my career, because I tried to fight that, guys, I tried to go out and say, okay, I know I'm a creator, but I'm going to try doing something else, that's non-music related. And I think you probably know how that goes. It just doesn't go too well. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit right. So what we're going to be dealing with today is kind of just taking a look, the 40,000 foot view of, all right, so we have our talent, we have our knowledge. How are we going to take our expertise, what we know, either about learning how to show people how to do music or musical instrument related or music business even for that matter. And I'm going to show you some really cool case studies about people taking any kind of topic area that's music related and creating a coaching career. Notice I didn't say music education career or music instruction career because there's so many shifts in the industry, and I'm going to totally go over that. So I'm totally honored that you're here, and we're going to be moving along quite quickly because I have to put 90 minutes of information in 50 minutes and 50 minutes to an hour. That's my time target for today. So I want to kind of give you the overview of how we're going to do this. So the name of this is How to Develop a Lucrative and Fulfilling Career as a New School Music Coach. So what does that mean exactly, new school? Why aren't we using the term music instructor? Well, there's a lot of shifts, and before we get into those shifts, I kind of want to give you the overview of what we're going to be doing. We're going to deal with three things today, guys. The three things that we're going to do is the 6 paradigm shifts in the private music training industry. So when we say private, we're not talking about music schools. We already know the climate of how that's going, and it's not that great. As I mentioned before, there's just not that many jobs. So what's tending to happen is we're having to move a lot of music training and a lot of coaching and instruction is going into the private sector, which is good news for us, and you'll see as we go along. Then number 2, I want to go over what the heck, where's the money in this? Because I think a lot of times art and money can't, a lot of people feel that it can't happen in the same conversation. You ever talk to artists about money and they don't really want to mix money and art? But I really believe that the starving artist mentality, it's just not a good way of going through life. It kind of works when you're between the age of 18 and 21, but then you start having these things called mortgages and kids and families, and you have to be a little more responsible at these things, and the starving artist thing loses its panache over time. So what we're going to do is, go over what some of those, the money map, how do we actually make money at this, and what are our options? Because I think that's really good, and that's a conversation that really has to take place. And then we're going to get really tactical, guys, and we're going to go over the strategies. What are the 10 steps? What do I have to do to actually pull this music coaching thing off? What are the 10 steps to a lucrative and I should have underlined it, fulfilling music coaching career? So how do we do that? How do we pull that off? So those are the three things on our agenda today. So let's kick it off. So when a lot of people ask, why do you use the term music coach as opposed to music instruction? Well, there's a lot of shifts. If you look at the traditional old school music instruction model, and you look at what music coaching is, you're going to definitely see a difference. So I want to outline what those actual shifts are. So shift number one, it's really no longer just an information exchange. So if you're no matter what topic you're teaching, it's no longer about just providing information, guys. I mean, check this out. I mean, we have Google, we have YouTube, we have all of these things, and we're just pummeled with information left and right on our devices, on our iPhones, on our Blackberries, all that thing. We have so much information, guys, we don't know how to deal with it. What we need is a filter, if anything. So what people are looking for now in an educational platform or educational model is a memorable experience. They're not coming in for information. It used to be totally cool when you had clients that were either coming in to learn music or coming in to learn some area of whether it be performance enhancement or whether it be music business or music marketing or learning how to play guitar or those types of things, that you could just hand over the information and it was totally cool and appreciated. But now when you can go on YouTube and figure out how to learn any tune and all of these types of things, and you have so much available free information, your job is to provide an extraordinary experience. Something that actually, when they leave a session with you, whether it's a virtual session or whether it's a one-on-one session, their lives are changed. They feel different. They have an emotional experience that lifts them up. And that's the thing that makes the huge difference between that passive old school instruction model and the new world of really extraordinary music coaching. That's just shift number one. Shift number two is the freedom of musical topic and niche choice. Well, what the heck is that? So I thought the best way that I could explain this is talking about some case studies. I thought that would be really cool. So meet John Tuggle. John's a great guy. We did an interview with John for Music Coach Magazine, and just a really nice guy and totally smart. And he's totally got this thing figured out. And that's why we interviewed him. What I should probably point out before I give you these case studies is the two things that we look for when we interview someone or go to look under the hood of someone's business in Music Coach Magazine are two things. They have to be teaching in not only one-on-one, but have a virtual model, have a product suite of music coaching products that they're putting out there. The other thing that we look for is someone who's changing the world as far as the way that they share their message. So not going with that traditional approach, but totally breaking the rules and breaking grounds and really making distinct and unique system for what they're teaching. That's huge. And everybody that I'm about to show you is doing those two things in a big way. So, as you can see, John, had a day job like most musicians, just trying to figure it out. And he had about 30 students, weekly, one-on-one model. And, at some point when you're teaching one-on-one, you're actually going to hit what we call the financial ceiling, where you can't teach any more than a certain amount. You have the same amount of time each week. You have 40 hours. So eventually what you do is you tap into what we call the financial ceiling, where you can't serve any more people. So what also happens is it's a ceiling on your income. So John pretty much went out and said, you know what, something's got to change. I got to figure out a way where I can teach but not have to be there for every single hour. So he kind of created his first book and then went ahead to creating a DVD series, which he found was a little more effective. And so 23 DVD later and the podcast later, he doesn't do any more one-on-one coaching. All of his coaching is virtual. So, and he does a great job. He also found a specific niche, didn't focus on, I'm going to be everything to everybody, just a comprehensive guitar course. What he did is, I'm going to focus on blues guitar and slide guitar. So he really zeroed in on an audience, which is huge. We'll be going over some of those concepts later, but super smart, and he's super successful at doing it. I'm sure you've seen this guy on PBS, Scott Houston. Scott has one of the highest grossing pledge specials in public television history. And his thing is he does a show where it targets adults that just did not like the traditional model. So that's one of the things. He's, 14 seasons. He had his own piano show that was based off of this pledge special that they will still run to this day. That, he had 186 episodes and he won 8 Emmy Awards. So guys, picture this. This is like a piano teacher on TV who has a weekly show who is earning Emmy Awards. So as you can see, there's probably definitely a need for this type of teaching. It's really cool. And then Scott produced some DVD series, authored many books on how to play piano in this way. So, I was asking Scott when I was interviewing, I was like, dude, how did you pull this off? How do you spread your message in such a huge way, but do this in a way that, how did you make that transition from the one-on-one model to the group thing? And he said, I never taught a one-on-one lesson in my life. And I just stood there kind of shocked because I was like, you never taught a one-on-one lesson? You went right to group. What he did is he started doing these group workshops. See, in his head, and Scott said he couldn't make that model work. He crunched the numbers on it and he said, you know what, it's not the lifestyle that I want to live. This one-on-one thing's not going to work for me. Although it works for a lot of people, it just wasn't going to work for him. So he started off touring the country. By the way, everything was independent. No one set this up for him. This was everything that he did was his own efforts. Started touring the country like a rock star, but he was the rock star of these piano group lessons. And the guy's extraordinary. You got to check out the way he teaches. Whether you agree with his technique or his philosophy, you got to admit the guy is just a pro at making it fun and engaging an audience. And that's a big thing. That's what has made him successful. 15,000 people over these workshops that he did over the year, have attended his workshops. He's just blasted his message in a huge way. He had a bigger vision for what he can do. If you look, Mike McAlco, this is another guy who I got to interview, totally nice guy. He started out as a one-on-one teacher and then made the revolutionary drumming DVD system. So it's a well-known system. I'm sure if you've ever searched for drum systems or virtual drum training, this is probably one of the ones that you'll see. He did his on a partnership model. He partnered with someone else who helped him produce it and put it out there, but he still teaches one-on-one. So unlike Scott, he still loves the one-on-one model, still loves getting into the laboratory and actually working one-on-one with students. So these are all choices, guys. I'm kind of just opening your world to the possibilities that we have. So this is kind of cool that we could see that. Vocal coach Steve Childs, he's another one that we interviewed. He does a couple things. So he still does the one-on-one coaching model. He's just an extraordinary guy, really nice guy when we sat down for the interview. But he also does a multi-coaching studio. So where he has other coaches that come in and work under him. And so he has that going, so generating passive income while he does his own students. And then he also started a membership site called virtualvoicelessons.net, where he can share his message across the world and teach and kind of conduct a virtual classroom. That's what a membership site is, basically, is a virtual space where you can share your content. So really cool. So that's Steve. He's a super nice guy, and we're actually doing a debut of him. We're doing a featured article of him in the next Music Coach magazine, so be sure to check that out. Next thing is, this is really cool because now we're getting into, what if I don't want to teach a musical instrument like these other guys? Well, meet Eric Martin. Eric's a really nice guy. Actually, I grew up with Eric when I was younger, and we kind of hooked up later in life. He's actually a production coach, so he goes in and he would help people with installs. He actually started out as a job at Guitar Center and quickly realized that he loves this idea of helping people with their gear and helping people set up their studios. And he actually that's his lovely wife next to him, and she does voiceover work. And he's like, you know what? I really love working with voiceover artists and actors, voice actors. So what he did is he created a course online that targeted specifically, so talk about a tight niche, talking to voice actors that need to set up their home studios for their work. He also published a book, just recently launched it, a great book called iVoiceover, super simple recording. So he's not only spreading his message in a one-on-one format, he's doing membership site, and he's also in online programs, but he's also doing it in a book format that he independently launched, guys. He didn't have a publisher. Nowadays, you can very easily launch a book on Amazon independently. And now with what they call print on demand, coolest thing ever, guys, is when someone goes to buy your book, you click add to cart, and right away the book is printed at that very moment. And it's the coolest thing, some of the coolest technology they're coming out with, that and you could even do this with your DVD programs, guys, and we'll get into this more in depthly, but the whole point, the physical product does not exist until you hit add to cart. And that's the coolest thing ever. So that's Eric. Eric's a great guy. We're going to be also doing a feature of him in the next issue of Music Coach Magazine. Tom Jackson. So he's not necessarily teaching an instrument, but he's showing other musicians how to improve their stage show, how to actually make their stage show more magical, and how to make it he's basically a performance coach, performance enhancement coach. And you can check out his stuff on onstagesuccess.com. And that's what Tom does. That's what area. I'm sure you've seen this guy. This is my man, John Ojaka, who is a music marketing coach. He was a touring musician at first, achieved some great success, and loved marketing and really had this passion to show other musicians how to do the same thing. And he took marketing tactics from outside industries, so really new, innovative stuff that wasn't necessarily being done in the music industry at the time, and showing musicians how to harness the power of the internet to spread their message. And then he created, of course, the Music Marketing Manifesto, and that's what he does. He has group coaching that he does virtually, and he also creates programs. Not sure if he does the one-on-one thing anymore as far as private consulting, because you would probably have to pay him so much just to do it, because it just makes more sense for him to do the group coaching model. So it's very cool. So those are some just great examples of people taking it to the next level. And that's one of the huge shifts, guys, we're talking about, is our industry is changing. Shift number 3, let's get onto this because I have a lot of other content. I really want to get into the 10 steps and get tactical and show you how to actually do this, how to actually go through the steps of setting up a music coaching career in your space or whatever your desired topic area would be. Shift number 3 is really important because this is the fulfillment factor for both the coach and the client. I truly believe that we're in the age of fulfillment. We're not in the age, like I said, we're not in an information age anymore. Even though we're pummeled with information left and right, the whole idea of this is to have a fulfilled life. I think that's what we're seeking now. And it was never a mandate before. Think about it, guys. It was never a mandate before that the music instructor in the old world had to be fulfilled too. I don't think it was necessarily a mandate that the student had to be fulfilled. The information exchange just had to happen. So there's this new thing about fulfillment coming into play. And just want to share some numbers. We took a survey. We asked males and females between the age of 18 and 45 what they thought about their music lesson experience, either when they were younger or when they were in high school, or even if they took lessons as adults. And 47.5% said they did not enjoy their music lesson experience. That's an alarming number, guys. That's like almost 50% said they didn't enjoy it. They weren't fulfilled. 50% said their music instructor was not enthusiastic, positive, friendly, or inspiring. Oh my gosh. So we have 50% who are phoning it in, who just weren't doing it in an enthusiastic way, probably because the instructor, now let's be fair, probably the instructor, the way that they set up their coaching or their instruction, they didn't do it in a way that was going to fulfill them on their end. And that's one of the things that we show in our formal coaching. We have a formal coaching program called Music Coaching Career Academy. It's our elite coaching program. And we really show musicians how to set up their content, how to set up their frameworks, how to set up their teaching system in a way that they feel fulfilled while they're teaching it. And that is an art form. I'm telling you, it doesn't come by default. So 65 said, what does it say? 65 said they did not get to choose the music they played. So that's like basically you get into a music lesson experience and you have no choice. You don't get to choose what you want to do. I mean, you would think by default that'd be like a no-brainer, but evidently not in the old world of music instruction industry. 80% said creative elements such as improvisation, songwriting, and learning to play by ear were never incorporated into the lesson experience. Music's supposed to be creative, and yet 80% said creative elements were not incorporated into the experience. That's kind of scary, guys. I'm a little put off by that whole concept. In the academy, in our private coaching, we actually show you how to do that. Even if you feel like, well, I don't know how to improv. I don't know how to do those things. You don't have to do it on an epic level to be able to show someone how to do that. You don't have to go into mind-blowing jazz modal theory in order to have that sense of creativity within your lesson experience. Even if you do it on a simple level, you'll be changing lives and changing the game totally on how you share your message. So even if you're teaching music business or music marketing, if you just give the raw data, there's a different way that you can set it up where it's actually engaging, where you show people in a fun way how they can harness tools within their career. So a little bit on both sides. 50% said they ultimately quit music lessons because the experience was not enjoyable. That's kind of sad, right? So they just gave up. So that goes into retention. How long can you hold on to a client? You don't want to lose 50% of your clients. So, I mean, this is just a stat that we got. 65% said they regret not continuing lessons when they were younger. So if you look at that 65%, by the way, I bet you that is what Scott Houston tapped into. So when Scott said, what market am I going to? I'm going to go for the 65% that quit their lessons as adults because they hated it, because Scott, I think, mostly relates with adults, and figured out a way to make something that was fun and engaging from them and reprogram their belief system on what music lessons can be. So kind of interesting survey. And this is an ongoing survey. I hope as an industry, guys, as the new music coaches of the new world, that we can change these numbers. It would be awesome if I do this survey and we spread our message in a huge way and start training more and more people, that these numbers start to change. And guys, it's not about me changing it. It's about, hopefully there's a culture shift that happens even without our program that changes these numbers. So we'll update you on the results of the survey as the years go through. So shift number 4. This is really important. The need for a unique results-focused coaching system. So a lot of times what would happen in the old instruction model is a teacher would get a method book and they would kind of just say, this is my method, this is my system. So whether it be like some Bastions or some Faber and Faber thing, not to say those books aren't bad. I'm not bashing those books. Hear me out, guys. What is happening with all the people that we're interviewing in Music Coach Magazine, they're not taking someone else's system and claiming that it's theirs and then pushing it out without their spin on it. What they're doing, the best of the best coaches look at every single method book out there and look at the best practices in the industry and say, awesome, what is great? What is working? What is not working? What do I want to avoid? And then they repurpose that and bring that into their own unique system that is unique to the coach. Guys, do you think if you had your own unique teaching system under any musical topic and it was unique to you and branded under your name, that you would be positioned as more of authority? Absolutely. You would be more of a musical expert in a niche rather than the guy that just, well, I teach this system that 40 other teachers teach. This is a key distinction, guys. In our coaching program, we show you how to make frameworks, but I'm also going to give you some more examples as we go through. Let's move on to shift number 5. Massive array of coaching vehicles and distribution channels and platforms. So what does that mean is we don't have to be tech savvy anymore, guys. We don't have to build websites from the ground up. We don't have to build a membership site. Between WordPress, which is a content management system, between Kajabi, which is a membership site platform, between all of these online tools, people have already built platforms for us to build our content. Give us a virtual classroom. It's fantastic. Between YouTube, we can get our message out there in a huge way, and we don't have to be tech savvy. It's like as hard as putting content on a page and pressing publish. If you know how to use Facebook, you're going to know how to use these programs. So it's extraordinary what we're able to do with technology now. And I should probably say too that going back to that one slide, let me jump back. If you look at the marketing opportunities that we have from this, it's huge. The way that we can actually market, promote, and drive traffic and generate sales using these same types of platforms and distribution channels, it's amazing what you can do if you harness the power and you're really committed to actually learning it. And also, guys, committing to saying that, well, I just don't get into the technology. I'm just not a tech person is the worst thing you can say for your business. I think nowadays we have no excuse to say that I'm not a technology person. They've made it so incredibly easy for us to do this and pull this off that that excuse is not valid anymore. In fact, it's more of an excuse not to try. It's more of an excuse to, well, I'm not a tech person, so I'm not going to jump in and try to create a career in this. So it's usually just more of a bad excuse. So you have to really evaluate before you start saying these belief systems that say, I'm not a tech person or I'm just not a techie. It's not valid anymore, guys. It's not relevant. So I really hope that you really watch the languaging of your belief system, because this is stuff that we can definitely do. Definitely do. If you can use Facebook, you can do half the stuff. All right, so let's get into the money thing. How do we actually generate income within a music coaching career? So the numbers that I'm about to give you guys, I have to be very honest. Before we begin this session, we do not believe in get-rich-quick programs. I think they're questionable, sketchy at best. I think marketers that go out and say you can do this overnight, it's irresponsible. In fact, it's illegal if you do it, guys. Stipulated by FTC law, you cannot just say, I guarantee you're going to make this amount of money, because I don't know your talent level. I don't know your work ethic. I don't know your skill set. So who am I to say that you're going to make $10,000 doing this? It's totally irresponsible, and it's just not the thing that I want to do. So I have to tell you that the numbers that we're about to give you are illustrative numbers. But also, you're going to find that the numbers, I don't like to highball. I like to lowball the numbers to show you a realistic plan. So let's go through this plan right now. Let's check this out. So if we're looking at all of your options, so your coaching products and program vehicles. So what's a vehicle? This is the way that you're going to actually set up your business. This is the way that you're going to share your message. So one thing that you can do is you can do one-on-one coaching. That's one of the most formalized things. I love coaching. I love getting in the room with a person and doing a small number of coaching. Right now, it doesn't make sense for me to do as much coaching as I used to, but I still like getting into the laboratory and testing out my content on real people. So another one you can do is group workshops or webinars. We're doing a webinar right now. I love this model that we can do this, and I can go out and do this virtually and do it from the comforts of my own studio space, and you guys are in the comforts of your own home, and it's a great way to set up a virtual learning experience. Or group workshops. Like we mentioned before, Scott Houston, he did the group workshop thing right off the bat. Or a multi-coach music studio or academy. This is something that I do. I have other music coaches, and Steve Childs does that too. He has many coaches working under him. It's a brick and mortar business, so you actually have to have a location, which adds a little more of a challenge and a little more startup cost than actually doing a virtual model. But it's definitely cool, and it's definitely, we found great success doing that model. Skype lessons. If you're in the middle of nowhere, guys, Skype is a great way. People are doing charging full prices for doing Skype lessons, and it also gets you out of that local constraint. You can actually reach the whole world and do lessons with someone. If you're in California, you can do lessons with someone who's in Hawaii. Physical book or ebook like Eric Martin did. If you have a training guide or something like that, perfect thing. It's never been easier to publish a book. Whether it's a hard copy book, print on demand, or whether you're using the ebook model or going up to Amazon and just shooting it right up there. Definitely, there's a few platforms you can get into that make it super easy. The barrier entry is very low. DVD or audio home study courses, those are very easy to create now with software on your computer, but also getting into the video thing, the lighting kits that you need for that, super cheap now. You can get a consumer grade and get great video and great audio and all that. Monthly membership sites, continuity programs. You can actually have a virtual classroom tomorrow. If you have content, you can throw it up there. You can start it tomorrow. You want your content to be great. You just don't want to throw anything up there. You want to make sure it's great. But if you had it and you were totally committed, you can get your stuff up there very quickly on a program. Wishlist Member is a WordPress-based platform that you can use, and also Kajabi is another one. And then mobile apps are the newest thing coming out. People are doing a lot of coaching and training using the mobile apps and driving traffic into their bigger programs, their higher price programs. So pretty cool. So those are our options. And guys, this is just a handful. I'm just giving you the 40,000 foot view. So here we go. Let's say that, so this is our case study. We're just gonna throw some numbers in there. Let's say music coaching vehicle, you choose to do private one-on-one music coaching sessions. And you say, okay, I'm going to do 20 hours a week of private coaching. So you either have 20-hour students or you have 40 half-hour clients at $60 an hour. So weekly, what you're going to do is you're going to do 1,200 weekly, 5,000 monthly, or 60,000 in a 50-week year. I use 50 weeks, guys, because you got to have at least 2 weeks of vacation in there somewhere. So I just wanted to be fair with that number. The next thing is a music coaching membership site. So if you were teaching your musical content in any topic area, John Ozaka does this, and you had 100 subscribers at $30 a month, you're looking at 692 weekly, 3,000 monthly, 36,000 yearly. Not too bad. You know, just having an extra income stream there. DVD home study course. If you sell one per day, guys, and it's $150 a unit, which I think a lot of them, who was it I was looking at? John Tuggles sells for more than that. So I kind of wanted to get the mid-range. So if you had a 10 DVD set or a 20 DVD set, whatever it is, you know, 150 is about the average. So that's what we're looking at. So you're basically making 1,050 weekly, 4,550 monthly, or 54,600 yearly. Guys, that's selling one per day. I could have gone like, let's juice these numbers and put 10 per day. No, I'm just saying, like, if you had all day to sell one, this is a definite opportunity. That's why I say I like to lowball the numbers. I don't like to highball them to make the numbers more impressive. I want to make this something that you guys can perceive as doable, right? And then if you're doing e-coaching, like a coaching ebook, like Eric Martin did, you know, let's say the book's $20 and you sell two per day. It's $140 weekly, 606 monthly, and then 7,280 yearly. So not too shabby. It's a little bit of more of a low tier product, but it's not bad. If you're into writing books, why not, right? Multi-coaching facility. This is something that I do. The formula on this, guys, really quick. If you look below, it's 50% of your per client revenue. So I collect 50% of my other teachers' revenue, which is standard, especially if it's a full service. We do all their scheduling. We do all their invoicing. All they have to do is come in and coach. So it's a great model. Times the number of clients per day, times the number of rooms, and times the number of days that you're actually open. So we did 15 times 10 times 5 times 5. That's 3,750 weekly, 15,625 monthly, and then 187,500 for 50 weeks out of the year because we need 2 weeks vacation. So that's the gross revenue on that. Guys, we're using gross revenue. This is before your cost. I'm going to be very transparent about this. Anytime we're talking about these numbers, we're talking about revenue. So that's definitely keep that in mind. So here's how we look at this. So if I were to be super aggressive, and I do a lot of these things, I don't do ebooks. I don't do that sort of thing. I love virtual coaching like I'm doing right now. And I love the membership model, and I love the group coaching program, and everybody, but it's, guys, really, it's not about me. It's about, we're going out to seeing what other people in the industry, the coaching industry, are doing. And some of these numbers we're getting from their scenarios. So just know that this isn't about my situation. This is about a collective situation from everybody, some of the best people in the industry. And some of the guys, a reminder, some of the best people in the industries are just normal, everyday people. They're not celebrities on any level. Maybe Scott Houston being, or John Orzaka. But even that level of celebrity was generated by them. They put great stuff out there, and people started knowing them for their great content. So what a concept. So music coaching vehicle number one, we got the one-on-one coaching session, 20 hours, membership with 100 subscribers, DVD home study course, only sell 1 a day, coaching ebook 2 a day, operate a multi-coaching facility, a little more complex. But guys, if you did just those 5 things, you can earn a gross revenue of $345,000, 380. Creators doing math, watch out. So that's a lot of money. But even if you were like, you know what, I don't want to do all that, I just don't feel that ambitious. Even if you were to cut that number in half, guys, that would still be an extraordinary income. So even if we just cut that, and I just want to paint a picture for what's possible in this new world of music coaching. So you asked me, what's the difference between the old world of music instruction and the new world of music coaching? This is one of them, guys. We're in a new world. We're on a new landscape, and we're harnessing the technology. So this is it. This is where it's all about. So that's just an example. Are there other ways to make money? Absolutely. Those are only 5 models that I showed you as far as product and vehicles. So there's other ways to do that. So again, are these results typical? Absolutely not. They're not typical. They're not. I can't say that they are, because most people won't work that hard. Most people won't seize the moment. They'll dabble in something for a while and then they'll give up. I'm going to be very honest, in this business, anytime that you go into any business, let's say, anytime you take on the position of being a musical entrepreneur, you're going to have a lot of work to do. It's never going to be easy. And that's one of the things that's one of the barrier of entry why a lot of people won't do it, is because they just can't deal with the work, or they had a different perception of how much work they were actually going to have to do to pull this off. So the number one music coaching myth, guys, let me put you on the screen for a while, is, like I mentioned, the biggest barrier to entry. We did like 6 myths, but I really think the one that we want to focus on is, a lot of people might be asking, who am I anyways? Why would anybody want coaching from me? Guys, that's a belief system thing. And if you're really asking that question, then there might be some deeper issues, about your self-perception and your belief system that you have about yourself. Everybody has a musical message. Everybody has a message inside them. All they have to do is go through the steps and take the work, or do the work, I should say, to be able to pull it off. But if you're in a questioning state of, who am I anyways? Why would anybody want coaching from me? If that's where you're at, then you got to do some work on yourself. Because I truly believe that anybody's in a position with work, dedication, commitment, like I mentioned before, are results typical? Not really. But if you're asking this question that you see right now, we got to stop asking that question. We got to go, you know what? I have a musical message inside. Yeah, I got a lot of work to do. Yeah, I'm in a position where, you know what, I got a lot of learning to do about this whole virtual teaching thing. Or, you know what, my social skills, I'm not like the most personable person, but those are things, areas of focus that if we did an inventory of ourselves, those are things that we can actually commit on working on. And those are things that we can get better at. So I really think if you're asking this question now, we have to do some self-examination, which we have 0 time to do that in this type of, we're going to get more tactical now, but I just at least wanted to address this one myth. And it's a question that I hear a lot. Who am I? Why would anybody want coaching from me? We got to really evaluate our belief systems to make sure that they support our mission. So that's huge, right? So here's the deal. I'm going to give you the nutshell of my story, because when I first came into this, I was asking those same questions too. Who the heck am I? I had some definite fears and some belief system issues that I had to retool. And I really think instead of me just preaching up at the mountaintop to say that I just know all this stuff is just irresponsible. It's not cool, because I started at a place myself personally where things weren't going that great for me. And I just want to tell you a little bit of my story. When I started out developing my music career, I was fortunate enough. I was in an original band, and we did, had some moderate success doing that. And then at some point we decided, I loved the band Fish. And I don't know if you guys are any Fish fans out there. Either you love them or you hate them, I guess. But I think they're phenomenal. And I think musically they're really extraordinary players. And we did a project where we were to recreate the whole Fish experience, which was cool. And, it was at a time when they were on hiatus, and we started touring around the country, and it just hit right away, guys. It was really cool because our first, gig in Chicago was at the House of Blues. And it's uncommon for anybody's first gig in a market to be at a House of Blues. It just doesn't happen. But we were fortunate that our passion for this band, actually a lot of other people were passionate of, so the market was already there. We didn't really have to work for the market, and we were totally using the already existing market and marketing to them to get people to the shows. So a lot of talent buyers instantly saw that as a way to get people there. And, we had, between 600 and 700 people, I think I'm guesstimating at that first event. And then it was on, we were going on many tours, but I was the type of guy that was like really into certainty. I didn't necessarily enjoy the touring life. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy only doing touring. So I really felt at that time it was important that when I got home, not having a non-musical related job wasn't an option. Like some of the other people in the band would come home, get a really lame day job, and then that would be it. I mean, they would only do that, they would go from one lame day job to another to fill the space in between tours. So I really wanted to develop a career teaching. But when I started out, guys, I was like a super lame teacher. I was trying to a traditional model that just wasn't going to serve at all. Like I wasn't fulfilled at the end of the day. It was just kind of lame. I just wasn't excited about being a traditional piano teacher. So, I don't know if you kind of like are on board with me, but it just wasn't like I was going through the motions and doing what I thought a piano teacher should be. And it just wasn't that cool for me. I had students, but I had a lot of turnover. I just wasn't getting into it. My passion wasn't there. And then I would go on these tours, and I have to admit, guys, like being in a Fish tribute band, there's a lot of partying that happens on the road, as you can expect. So I was kind of living two lives. I would go on the road, and my partying would, what I thought was a party at the time soon became not so much of a party lifestyle. It became, I was using the partying as a vehicle to numb out my existence. I didn't feel like good about things. Like I didn't feel good about my teaching business at home. I didn't feel like, even when I was on tour, the touring was cool at first, but it started to become challenging. And it got to the point where I was going to have my first baby. I wasn't going to have it. My wife was, but I helped. And you know what? I was like, I really got to get my things together. I have a child on the way. I really have to think about turning things around. I can't live this partying lifestyle anymore. And I felt, something's got to change. And it really took a lot of soul searching me at that time to go, if I'm going to design a life, I'm going to have to change what I'm doing. So the whole partying thing I just had to get rid of that out of my life. And it was hard, guys. I'll be honest with you. That was a hard thing to let go. But I totally let it go. And then I really had to go looking at my career and say, do I want to tour anymore? Because I don't want to be away from my family. What am I going to do? Because I love the music business. I love elements of the touring lifestyle and the recording of music and all those sorts of things. I love that. How am I going to bring those experiences that I love into a teaching experience? The moment I asked that question, life changer. That was a game changer. I totally redesigned. I said, I'm not willing to be a traditional teacher anymore. This is not working for me. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be a non-traditional teacher. I want to give an experience to my students that they don't get anywhere else. The minute I made that change, oh my gosh, my business blew up. It was amazing. I stopped referring to myself as a music teacher. I was like, I don't even want to be that anymore. So then I started getting into the music coaching terminology, and it wasn't terminology. It changed everything that we did in the lesson. Each client would come in and it would be like a studio session, and we'd be preparing for a performance. It wasn't about just preparing, and we would be doing songs that they love, and we'd be doing improvisation and songwriting and creating an album throughout the year. Totally changed the experience that I had at the end of the day. When I left that teaching studio at the end of the day, I was on fire. And that was the difference. I had to change my strategy. But in changing my strategy to make my life more fulfilling, guess what? Byproduct of that were my students were rocking it. They were loving it. They were loving this new experience. So that's basically my story in a nutshell. I really had to change. I was forced to change through my own misery and in my shortcomings. And because of that, I have a much better life for my family. The income level is so much better than it was. Not that I'm not a money bragger guy, but I'm just going to say I'm at a level of comfort that I'm not doing the starving artist thing. And just because I'm not comfortable with that. So that's my story in a nutshell. I think it's important that you know who's on this webinar, and I have to be transparent with you guys because that's who I am. That's what I'm all about. So right now, after telling you that, I want to tell you some of the things that I did to make those changes. So very strategically, there were 10 steps to a lucrative and fulfilling music coaching career. So we're going to go over those, and then we're going to end with that, because I think this is where the rubber hits the road. We kind of set up the whole session. Do you guys feel that? We kind of set it up, this whole session, for what we're about to hit on right now. And let's get tactical and let's create a strategy. Let's create a plan. And as we're doing this, you can really brainstorm some ideas that you can do. So step number one, what you want to do is you want to decide. Decide on your targeted music coaching niche. What do you love about the music business, and what are some things that you absolutely love to show? So whether you're a rock guy or whether you're a jazz guy, or what audience can you reach with your musical message, and what do you feel a total connection to? Do you love just focusing on, pop music? Do you love just focusing on what type of music, and how can you use that to create a program that's really going to inspire? So what is that specific niche? Do you love the idea of showing songwriters how to create music beds around what they're singing? Whatever the niche is, this is something that you guys have to brainstorm. So in thinking that and going through that niche and figuring out what is my target, what do I want to do, what is my specific topic? And once you do that, some of the questions, like I said, what do you love to learn? Whom do you want to serve? In what specific topic or area could you create a coaching program or product? So that's step one, really deciding on what that is. So even if you want, on the replay of this, as you're listening to this, you could even press pause and just write some stuff down. Answer those questions, guys. Let's treat this like a workshop. So what do you love to learn? Whom do you want to serve? And what specific topics or areas can you create a coaching program? Go ahead, if you want, on the replay, press pause and write those things now, because we're making your plan. Let's actually do something real with this. Cool. I'm going to move on to the next one, just to keep things moving. Step two, know thy niche. So knowing exactly everybody in your space. So once you choose your topic area, whether it's on a local level, so let's say you decide, well, I want to do one-on-one coaching, but I'm going to be competing with people within a 5-mile radius of where I am. Or whether you decide to say, no, I don't want to compete. I want to do a Skype thing in combination with that. Who are the people who are also teaching what I'm teaching and in the way that I'm teaching? And who are those people? So here's the question who are those direct competitors? And guys, I don't necessarily look at competitors as a bad thing, but you definitely want to know the market space. And another thing, you got to know your audience. So who is your audience? Who are your competitors? What are the best practices within your music coaching niche? So looking at the programs that are already out there and studying those programs. Guys, what I used to do is I used to look at all my competitors' programs, whether it was virtual, mostly in the virtual space. So I would look at who's offering like a program, a DVD program. I would purchase the program and I would go through it. I would outline it. I would examine it. I would dissect it to see, what do I love? What do I want to avoid? And then bring those things into my own program without stealing them, guys. Let me make the point here. Is everything that you want to bring into your own unique system has to be unique and distinct and different. You can't just rip stuff off, but you can make your own frameworks and your own system based off of the best practices in those industries, right? Within that niche. So kind of a cool thing. Step 3. So maybe if you can, if you're watching the replay, press pause and say, where am I going to find those people? Who is my audience? Define those, maybe write some notes on that. Look online tonight when you go on Google, see what is happening in your niche space and write those things down and start doing some heavy research. Guys, the people that don't do the research element are the ones that fail. It's the non-sexy part of what we do. But if you do intense research on your niche, you're going to come up with a solution that's going to top everybody's because you did the homework. Most people won't do the homework. They'll just go create stuff and throw it up there, and that's the worst thing you can do. You really want to research the niche. Step 3, position yourself as an expert with unique solutions. So you heard me mention the word distinct. That's the thing that's going to set you apart. Being unique and also setting yourself up as authority. In marketing, your positioning of your brand is more important than driving traffic. Now, when I say that, driving traffic is important, but what you're driving traffic to is almost more important, right? It's almost more important. So I could say that with confidence is you really want to be strategic about how you position yourself, how you describe what your programs are all about. So a good positioning exercise is, look at what is your story? What is your philosophy? What do you believe in? And then another question, and guys, again, in the webinar replay, just pause this and answer these questions. I think getting it down on paper, just don't think about it. Let's be a little more tactical. What need does your program or product address? So what need does your music coaching product or program address? Why? This is the huge one. Why is your solution going to be different? What is going to be distinct about your solution? This also takes step 2, guys. If you don't know the marketplace within your niche, you won't know how your solution is going to be different. And then how will your program or musical product, impact the lives of your clients? How's it going to make a difference? You need to answer these questions because this is all going to be this is marketing gold, guys. This is going to be a part of your positioning statement and how you market your stuff. So once you drive your traffic, these things have to be very apparent in your marketing, your core marketing message. So very important to do that. So let's move on. Step 4, develop your results-focused music coaching or system and framework. So after you've done all of the research, after you've seen the best practices of whatever niche that you want to kind of dive into, what you want to do is start going through the processes. How am I going to teach this? What are the end results? What are the questions my audience is asking? And how am I going to develop a really cool system and solution? We use the term frameworks. One of the best ways I guess I can explain frameworks, if you look at one of the books by Stephen Covey, we just lost him recently. He wrote a book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And he based the book off of these 7 habits. Those 7 habits essentially are a framework. That's what a system is. And that's why his book is still on the bestsellers list today, I think, is because he had a specific system. Anytime you have a very specific journey or a framework for how someone's going to get from point A to point B, that is absolute gold. That's power than just putting a bunch of conceptual information up. So that's step 4. So when you're doing this, some questions to ask: what results does your audience want? What specific questions is your audience asking a lot? What are the FAQs? What are the SAQs? FAQs, frequently asked questions. And then the SAQs, which are almost more important than the FAQs, are the questions that they should be asking. Those are should ask questions. And what steps do they need to take to address each question? What are those steps? How are you going to teach that? What are the different categories of focus that they have to focus on? Those are things that we go over in our coaching, in our group coaching, more of our VIP elite coaching program. We very specifically go through how do you create content. And that's one thing I mean, I could do 6 webinars on that. We're not going to do that now, but at least I'm going to help you and give you some of the questions that you should be answering to develop that kind of content. So we have a cool contest that we're going to do. It's called the Step 4 Music Coaching Contest. Is what I want you to do is, it's really cool. Not everybody has to participate, obviously, but what I want you to do is make a video of you teaching a single musical framework or system. So teach one thing on video. Show us how to do it. Make sure that it's in a very specific step 1 or some kind of framework. Then what I want you to do is post your video on YouTube or Facebook. Make sure that you mention that it's the Music Coaching Career Academy contest. And then either do that on the video and in the title so we know what to look for. And then come back to the webinar replay page and paste your link to your video on the comments box below the replay. 3 steps. It's kind of just a cool thing that we're doing. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually give a free ride, choose 2 winners, and they'll get a free ride into our elite virtual coaching program. So you'll get all free coaching. You get to do the group coaching. We do 2 webinars a week where we do a deep dive into how to really make this thing happen for you. So this is kind of a neat program that we're putting on. Just a cool contest. We wanted to give some value out there and have some fun with it. But also we wanted to really inspire you to actually take a step and actually do some virtual teaching. So hopefully this can inspire you to do that. Step 5, let's move on. Develop your music coaching program and product suite. You know, guys, Apple had it figured out. They made a very unique product suite. You have the iPod, you have the iPhone, you have the computer. You know, once you get one, you feel this need to get the other because they all are integrated. They all work together very well. You know, I'm in the same boat. Like I'm going to get the new iPhone. I'm going to get the, I'm not going to line up for 2 miles to get one. But I have the MacBook Pro, and Apple really is the master at what they call the integrated product suite. And this is a really cool concept, and you can do it within your own music coaching business. So what are ask yourself these questions and write them down. What are the broad categories within your music coaching niche? So what are the big categories? Like if you have someone who wants to learn how to play a specific instrument, what areas of focus do they need to focus on? What are the big categories? Technique, songwriting, ear training, those types of things. What are those big specific categories? And then in what ways does your audience like to learn and consume content? Do they like the one-on-one model? Do they actually like virtual? Do they like to see videos? Do they like the concept of a membership site where they can do it on their iPod and do it at their own pace? Do they like a book format? So think about what vehicles do they like, and how can you create your content and repurpose it in ways that they can easily consume it. And then what products and program models would allow you to reach more people effectively and efficiently. So what I mean by that is eventually we talked about the coaching ceiling. You're inevitably going to hit where you get to the point where you can't reach any more clients. So this is all about, how am I going to take my message and bottle it? How am I going to put it in a way that I can spread it out to the world without me having to actively be teaching the whole time? So just a cool concept to think about. And then step 6, create a value-focused sales sequence for each music coaching brand or product. This is kind of neat, guys. We don't have to sell anymore. Isn't that great? Because most musicians and artists hate the concept of selling. What we have to do is we have to put value out into the marketplace. We just have to give on the front end. So what does that mean? So what it ultimately means is instead of selling, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just give a free session, a coaching session out, and get traffic to come in. Or you might give a series of free videos out. What we call that is a value sequence. And then at the end of the value sequence, you're basically going to go, hey, cool, I gave you a bunch of cool stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like that, I got this other thing. If you want it, great. Come on in and purchase it. Or if you don't, I hope you enjoyed the free stuff. That's the extent of selling in the new world. If you do the hard sell on the front end, people really find that annoying. So here's some questions that you can ask. How can you offer value on the front end of the relationship? So if we're not selling on the front end, we're adding value. What is your unique music coaching value sequence? What are those things that you can do to add value. Can you do a free video? Can you do a free session? Could you do a report, a white paper? What is that going to be? What content can you give them up front to not only position yourself as an authority, but also make them feel a little more connected to you because you actually gave them something on the front end without asking for anything in return right away. And then what sales psychology must you understand before crafting your core sales message? This is huge because there's certain fundamentals of sales and marketing that haven't changed for years. So getting a book on sales psychology, it's stuff that we go over in the elite coaching program, but it's really important for you to understand sales psychology and how it works. I find it fascinating. I just think it's a cool topic to understand, at least on some level, and understand what are those things that make a sale happen and what end up ruining the closing of a sale. So just something to keep in mind. So those are the things you want to focus on. Step 7, drive traffic to your solution with a value-focused promotional campaign. So what this means is, we talked about step 6 was more about the sales sequence. But if you don't get people into your sales funnel or your sales sequence by driving a massive amount of traffic, you're not going to have a business. So how are you going to do that? What are the ways that you're going to drive either organic traffic or paid traffic into your business? Because that's really a huge area of focus. And a lot of creators like to create things and then they don't think about, how am I going to get people to show up? How am I going to get clients? And then they're left there with a lot of work that they put out and no clients. So step 7 is huge, guys. How do you use paid traffic tools to drive traffic to your business? How do you create magnetic content that drives organic free traffic to your website? So putting really good information, really good content out with the purpose of driving people back into your website, back to your opt-in page or whatever you're going to use. And then how do you increase your conversions on the front end with the front end model? We kind of talked about that a little bit. You want to give something good out there, and that's what entices someone to get into your sales funnel, or more importantly, to give you their name and email address on the homepage of your website. Some people refer to it as a homepage ATM. Some people refer to it as a squeeze page or an opt-in page, whatever it is. The whole idea of it is to try to capture leads so you can continue a relationship. Websites that don't capture leads are websites that fail. I'm just sorry to say that. It's just the way it is nowadays and how marketing works in the new world. So step 6, establish promotional partners to spread your musical message in a big way. So this is huge, guys, because a lot of times you could drive traffic, but it's not enough. The way that you can really explode your traffic is to profit with to promote your stuff through the use of partnerships. The partnership model is what we like to call it. So, what corporate and nonprofit organizations can you partner with to spread your message on a much larger scale? What specific value drivers can you bring to the table in a promotional partner relationship? What can you bring? How can you go to a nonprofit and say, hey, I have this business. I want to give something to your people that on your list and inspire them to come this way. And this is what I can give to you, a donation or whatever that is. We do a whole section of that in our coaching program on promotional partnerships. It's a great way to get a lot of traffic very quickly without a lot of investment on the front end. How do you connect with potential promotional partners? How do you do that? How do you connect with these resources? Where do I find these promotional partners? And those are things that you can look online. You could Google it. Again, that's something that we go in our coaching program a little more in depth, but something to at least think about and Google, look online, and just open yourself to the idea of the whole concept of promotional partnerships. It's very cool. Step 9, we're getting done here, guys. Automate your business with strategies, tools, and systems. So here's the thing, is being an entrepreneur, they say, hey, you got the freedom to choose any hours you want to work. And my answer is yeah, all my hours. So it's a lie to say that when you're starting a business, it's not going to take you any time. It's going to be simple and easy. It's not. It's an absolute lie. But what it is if you can create something and you can learn to scale it, you can learn to automate it, you can put systems in your business, use technology to make things to go on what we call autopilot, it makes it a lot easier to manage the business. And then you can focus on, well, I just want to focus on creating and creating content and marketing and driving traffic and those sorts of things. So those are things that we have to look at, is how do we do that? Plus, we want to free up time to be able to do other things within our music business. We want to have that performance career on the weekend. We want to be able to record. We want to be able to tour. We don't want this taking up our whole time. So how do you set your business up to align with the lifestyle that you want? To align with the lifestyle that really you find that you're moving towards naturally. And I think that this is what step 9 is all about. What areas of my music coaching business do I need to constantly manage and improve to ensure the long-term success? So what are those specific categories, like marketing, my market, my customer service, my finances, my innovation, my content creation, product? There's certain areas of your business that you currently not only have to manage, but you have to improve in order to really rock it in this business. And kind of looking at what those areas are is a great exercise. So how would you divide your business into different compartments? And then what systems do I need to put in place? What tools, online tools, do I need to do? Do I have to get staff? Do I have to get one staff member? The cool thing about this business is you guys don't have to get a lot of staff. You can run it all yourself, but at some point it's not going to make sense to do everything yourself. So do I outsource it? Do I go to Fiverr? Do I go to Elance and contract out some help and get some of the busy work done by other people while I do the stuff that really matters in my business? And then how do I automate those systems so I have more time and focus on creating more programs or doing creative work in our life? So it's really figuring out how to not let the business, how you can run the business and not let the business run you. A great book is E-Myth. If you haven't checked it out, check out that book because it really dives in, takes a great deep dive into that concept about automating your business and not letting it run you. So kind of a cool concept. Step 10, last one, guys, adopt a high performance entrepreneurial mindset. Here are the 3 things that we have to really focus on, because if you don't have these 3 things, all of this will not work. You have to have a high performance belief system, meaning that yes, you will feel fear. You will feel fear throughout this whole process. Sometimes you're going to feel uncertainty. Sometimes you're going to feel that you're not good enough. Sometimes you're going to feel a sense of wanting to give up. Your belief system dictates the actions and the strategies you're willing to take. That is it. So if you have a crappy belief system about what's possible, that's going to dictate the actions. Those actions will dictate your results, and your results will dictate your destiny. The end, that's basically how it works. And any high performance coach or anybody talks about the power of beliefs and values, and those are the reasons, is because they really control everything we do. And you have to really take a look at, what are my belief systems as of today, and are they supporting my main mission? That's it. That's the question. What are my belief systems as of today, and are they really supporting and aligned with what I want? And you have to do some kind of a deep dive, and it's not always good work to do, meaning that doing that inventory of your belief systems and seeing if and reprogramming them, and quite honestly, inserting new belief systems that support your main mission. High performance skill development skills or system. Sorry guys, a lot of content. I'm getting to the end of this. I'm reading things wrong left and right. I'm sorry about that. High performance skill development system. So here's the deal, guys. We want to develop our skills on an epic level in every area of our business. We never stop learning. It's a lie if you think you've gotten there, especially in the music world, especially where you have a musical ability. We should never stop improving it, especially the music. The better we are skill set wise in our music, in the music category, the better quality programs we can create, the better we can share our message. If we don't think we're good speakers, guess what? That's a skill you need to improve. If we don't think we're good at WordPress or the internet stuff, guys, that's a skill you need to do. Any skill that you feel that you're weak at, that becomes your to-do list. That's a checklist of things that you have to become skillful at. Some people won't do that. Some people aren't going to be willing, but the ones that are willing to go, okay, where's my skill set in each one of these areas? Where do I need improvement? Bam, knock it out. I'm going to get a course. I'm going to sign up for a membership program. I'm going to get coaching in this area, whatever it is. the skill development aspect of you personally, personal development skills and business skills, marketing skills, creative skills, all have to be constantly improved. Constantly. It's a never-ending process. I love that idea. I love the learning curve, so that excites me. It totally bums some people out. So, and then the end here, high performance results system, meaning that you don't want like to go get the software that creates your business plan, because that's the kind of software you would get. It's helpful, and I guess it's helpful to understand what goes into a typical business plan. But usually that's the type of business plan that you have to have in order to convince a bank to give you money, or to convince a venture capitalist to give you money. The type of ongoing internal result system that I'm referring to is the one that actually moves your business forward. So, what are the outcomes that we want? What are the results we have? And what's our plan? What's our action plan? So having those systems in place constantly are the ones that we're looking for. So my voice is going, guys, so I apologize, but we've gone over a lot of content, and that's basically it. We're coming to the end of the program, and totally glad that you sat through it, because hopefully I was able to serve you on some level. Hopefully I was able to give you some insight, because I love teaching this stuff. If you can't tell, I was trying to get through it as quickly as possible. So that's it. You know what, guys, I really don't have anything huge to sell right now. Usually webinars are just full of sales messages. But if you are interested, for anybody that's interested in taking a deeper dive, we're opening in a limited number of spots for our elite virtual coaching program. It's not even open yet. So I don't have anything to sell right now. I don't have anything to there's no, at least at this point, there's no add to cart button. But in a few weeks, we'll be sending anybody who gets on this webinar we're going to be sending you an email and an invitation to join if you feel that it's right for you. So that's it. Hopefully you got some value out of this. And if you want to do a deeper dive and you want to continue learning about the marketing of your business, about content creation, about business systems, we're going to be doing ongoing coaching. We meet twice a week in a webinar format. It's really cool. We get a community going. We learn the best practices from each other. I learn from you. You learn from me. We bring on some guest experts to come in our space and talk with us, and kind of cool, just a cool program that we're starting, and we're really excited about it. So also remember that, so again, in that program, we're going to deal with the marketing and the coaching mastery session, and then we're going to do a program product development session in that. So again, just a kind of visual of everything that we cover in that. So I'm going to skip that slide. And then just a real quick remember about the Step 4 Music Coaching Contest. If you want to enter to win, all you got to do is basically make a video of you teaching a single musical framework or system, post your video or on your YouTube or from Facebook or your YouTube account, and be sure to post it under the comments box on the replay page of this. When we send a replay out, you're going to go to the page and you're going to see a Facebook comments box. That is where you're going to post the link directly to your video. Make sure to mention in the title of the video, Music Coaching Career Academy contest, and also mention, talk about it. Say, hey, say who you are, and this is for the Music Coaching Career Academy contest, blah, blah, blah. That's how you're going to do it, and then post it on that, and we're going to choose 2 winners to get a free ride through our coaching program, so something kind of cool. So thank you so much for your time. I'm out. Again, Derek Berg, founder of Music Coach Magazine and Music Coaching Career Academy. I'm still bald, and thanks a lot, guys. Hope you can make this happen for you, and look forward to seeing you on the next webinar or wherever. Talk to you later.